guys. Hi. I'm so super excited to chat with you guys tonight. I know I'm a little bit earlier than I said I was going to be in here when I claimed the 8 o'clock time slot for this call or this live. I didn't realize Mel was doing an 8 p.m. power hour as well. So I definitely don't want anybody missing her power hour. I certainly want as many of you to jump on as possible. And then as soon as this is done in 15 minutes, we're all hopefully going to pop over to her power hour and just like learn from the best. So thanks so much. I see so many of you guys are already watching. I love it. Can you guys do me a quick favor? Drop me a hi. Let me know that you're watching. I would love to know. See, I'm talking about owning your story. Hey, Melissa. I'm talking about owning your story and sharing with authenticity. And you guys, this is a private, safe space, so there's no wrong answer here, but I really want to hear your feedback. Hey, Kim. On a scale of, hey Jade, on a scale from 1 to 5, how do you feel you're doing with sharing your story authentically? So, hey Pam, hey Tammy, hey Shauna, awesome, you guys are amazing. Megan, I love it. Okay, so on a scale from 1 to 5, how do you feel like you're doing with sharing your story authentically? I mean, 1 being like, I'm a total fraud and I need to really work on this, to 5 being like, I've laid it all out there. Everyone knows everything. They know 100% the real me. Can you guys drop me a comment and let me know where you are in that range? Shauna, I love it. Shauna's a 5 and that's so great. Those of you who are just jumping on, I'm asking you to let me know, like, no judgment, no, just be open right now with me and let me know how you're feeling. 1 to 5, how do you feel you are doing with sharing your story authentically? Meaning, I kind of feel like a total fraud. I filter what I share, to 5 being like, it is all out there. It is all out there on the table. I have no secrets and everyone knows my biz. I'm seeing a lot of 4s. That's super cool. Some 5s. I love it. Oh my gosh, you guys, so great. I see Brooke. I see Linda. I see Christina. You guys are amazing. Kim says 5 on Facebook, not so much on IG. Okay, interesting. 4s, 5s. I love it. Okay. And just to preface by saying, this number can change hour by hour. Sometimes I feel like I am like an open book and I am like 5 all day long. Other days I have the imposter syndrome. I have the fears that we all have. Thanks so much for you guys who are jumping on now. I totally love it. So I'm here to really talk to you guys about owning your story and sharing with authenticity. Before we can even get started, what does it mean to own your story? So I have so many new coaches who come in here and they say, I don't even know what my story is yet. And so let's just start there. I have a 4-step process to help really just determine what your story is. And so I'll kind of break it down for you, and I can share this in the comments afterwards, so don't worry. But I really want you guys to think about these 4 steps when it comes to drafting your story. So step number 1 to your story starts in the early years. It starts in childhood in some aspect. Something about your upbringing has formed who you are as an adult, okay? And oftentimes, as amazing as our childhoods may have seemed, there's often trauma that goes into forming who we are as adults, okay? And I'm reading an amazing book about this right now. It's called Judgment Detox by Gabby Bernstein. If you haven't read it, it's amazing. You need to get it. But step 1 of your story is like starting from the early years, okay? What happened when you were younger that ended up bringing you to the pain points that you're feeling as an adult? And that's number 2. What were some of the pain points that you were feeling pre-Beachbody, pre-fitness journey, pre-finding this community? What was the pain point that made you look for a solution? Okay, that's step 2 of your story. And then step 3 is really kind of where the magic happens. Step 3 of your story is what Beachbody has done for you. And we can all have completely different answers to this, but I know that if you're in this group, it's because it's done something amazing for you. So step 3 is to, explain what you have gained and what the difference is because of this community and because of this lifestyle. And then number 4 for your journey or your story is your hopes for other people. So you don't just share your story to throw it out there and get a pat on the back, or to throw it out there and to have people say, Steph, you're doing so great. That's not why we do what we do. We do what we do because we're trying to inspire other people to live better lives, live healthier lives, find financial freedom, whatever your hopes are for your business. That's step 4 for your story. So just to backtrack, for those of you who are just jumping on, before we can even own our story, we have to know what our story is. And I always break it down to 4 steps. Step number 1 is what happened in your early years, in the childhood phases, to help create the pain points in number 2. And I can tell you my story, and maybe it'll help for some of you. Please know that everyone is going to have a totally different story here. Okay, so while I can say my step number 1, so my childhood thing that affected my story is that I had this perfect childhood. When I first started really looking into this for myself, it was almost impossible for me to find anything wrong with my childhood. And I even did this exercise with a life coach. And I was swearing up and down I had the most perfect childhood. And I kept telling her, I can't find anything wrong with it. I can't find anything wrong with it. I was happy. We had everything. It was da, 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 da. And then it occurred to me that that's what was wrong with it, was that everything was so great that it brought me to my adult pain points, which was feeling unworthy, which was feeling like I was never good enough, which was feeling like I was never going to live up to my mom or my sister or all these other people that I had these idealistic views on. Okay, so that's step number 2 of my story. Step number 1, amazing childhood. Step number 2, adult pain point. Now, step number 3 is where I found my Beachbody community. And that is where I love to talk about my personal development. I've already dropped the name of a book in this live. It's just the way my brain works, because this has been the thing that has been so amazing for me in transforming my life. And then number 4 of my story is just sharing it with others. So if you have not, taken pen to paper and written down really what the bullet points of your story are, I totally urge you to do that tonight, okay? Don't overthink it. Start from childhood. What was the adult pain point? How did Beachbody fix the solution? And how can you pay it forward and help others? 4 simple steps, okay? And if you haven't done this already, if you were one of the people who at the beginning of this live were rating themselves a 3 or a 4, and you were honest with me, and I'm so grateful for that. You were honest with me in the sense that you felt like you were filtering or not being truthful with the way you're presenting yourself on your social media. I want you to know that the first time that you give this talk, or the first time that you tell this story, I promise you guys, and I had this talk with one of my coaches yesterday, it will be the hardest time that you ever tell that story. The first time that you go in and you just shed off the layers and you talk about the thing that is really super difficult for you to talk about, the first time you do that is the hardest time it's ever going to be. It's never going to be that hard again. And the more and the more and the more you do it, the easier and the easier and the easier it gets. Now, I'm asking you, what is your pain point that is giving you kind of the heebie-jeebies? What is your thing that is holding you back right now from rating yourself a 5? And I am so grateful that so many of you rated yourself a 5, and that makes my heart so happy. But the ones that voted, that put 3 or put 4, what is the thing that you feel like you're filtering, or that you're not sharing authentically? And again, that'll be different for all of us. I can tell you again, part of my story, and maybe that'll resonate with you, but I am someone who has had a lot of shame about my weight. I'm a plus size coach, and for 2.5 years, I hid that. I hid that in my social media, and if you scroll back, I've done so much growth since that, but honestly, I used to never show my true size. I never used to show what I really looked like because I thought that wasn't going to give me the success that I wanted. And so once I finally got comfortable being super uncomfortable, it was like, well, now I've done it. Now they've all seen it. Now everybody knows that I'm the size that I am. Now I have nothing to hide, right? So the first time you do or you share that thing that you're hesitating on sharing is the hardest. And then the more you do it, the more comfortable it becomes. And then it becomes, well, no big deal, okay? So why is it important to share? And I have a two-part answer for this. So it's important to share the real, authentic you. Obviously, the first thing we think about is because someone out there needs to hear it. Someone out there needs to see what I really look like. Someone out there needs to see that I am living in a larger body and I'm doing the things that they want to do. So someone out there needs to hear my story, and someone out there needs to hear your story too. Someone up there, I lost the comment, but because I'm trying not to get distracted, but whatever your pain point is that you are dancing around, and the subject that you don't really want to breach with your audience, someone out there needs to hear that. But the second reason why you need to own up to it and to share it is because that is such a crucial part, you guys, of you healing from that trauma. It is such an important part of you getting past it, to be mindful of it, to share it, to acknowledge it. And as much help as it will bring someone out there who we know needs to hear what we have to share, sharing your struggles and sharing your pain points and sharing your things that you think aren't shareable is as much of a healing process for you as it is for other people who are out there watching it. So please keep that in mind when you are thinking, is it worth sharing this? I'm really uncomfortable sharing this. Yes, we always think someone needs to hear this, but even more so, sharing this will help you. It will help you heal, and that's even more amazing. So the last tip I have is just be okay with it. If you're anxious about sharing something, tell them that you're anxious about sharing something. Don't pretend that you've gone live a million times and it's no big deal, because no one's going to buy that. No one's going to believe that. If you're anxious about going live, or if you're anxious about hosting your first sneak peek, or if you're uncomfortable about sending the invite, it's okay to own that and to actually acknowledge that and to say that. What's not okay is to just throw that fear out there and let it sit. You always want to throw that fear out there and you want to follow it up with some type of empowering belief. Or I am so nervous about doing this, that, and the other, but I learned this from it. Or you always want to follow it up with something that you have learned, okay? And actually Noella, who I see just jumped on right now, her and I had this conversation last night because she is like the most outgoing person in the world, but she couldn't do a live to save her life. It was just, she had this limiting belief in her that she could not do it. And so we talked about it, and I'm like, don't pretend you've gone live a million times. Go in there and tell them that it's your first time going live and that you're a little bit uncomfortable with going live, but that this is part of your growth process. And you know what's going to happen when you're authentic and you're true like that is you're going to attract people like you. You're going to attract people who are willing to acknowledge their limitations, and people who are willing to be uncomfortable, people who are willing to step outside of their itty bitty box that they've created. And those are the people that you want to attract to your tribe, because they're the ones that you're going to be able to relate with, and they are the ones that you're, going to connect with, and you're going to really be able to help. So I know Mel's starting in a couple minutes and I don't want to keep you guys any longer. I really hope that some of this resonated with you guys. I saw some comments that it did, and I'm so glad. I kind of want to leave you with a little bit of tough love, you guys. We can't keep posting the same workouts and the same shakes and the same, sweaty selfies and expect people to flock to us. We will, of course, get a couple people who are interested, and that is so amazing. But if you're in this group, it's because you want to build a big business. And so you have to give your audience something to watch that they can see themselves in. They don't want to look at you leading your perfect life with no struggles. They want to look at Jade posting about a struggle that they're having and that she's overcoming, right? I want to see people like me. I want to work with people like me. And so that's why it is so important, you guys, to like take off the mask, get comfortable being uncomfortable, just rip the damn Band-Aid off, because it's the hardest right now that it's ever going to be, and just share it, because people need to see themselves in your story. And take it from me, you guys, because I wasted 2.5 years sharing the same stupid selfie. And it wasn't until I like let it all show that people really started relating to me. And I have so much regret that I waited that long, but I'm grateful also, because the past 6 months have been amazing for myself and for my team and for my business. And if you can take it from me, just don't wait. Don't waste that time. Like I said, this is the hardest it's ever going to be to share whatever vulnerable thing you're trying to share. So please just do it. Do you promise me you'll just rip the Band-Aid off and just do it? We would love to cheer you on. Please share your actions that you're taking from this. Don't just listen to my words and, tuck them in the back of your mind. Take action on this. Create your story and just do it. Just do it. Just rip the Band-Aid off and do it. And it will never be as difficult as it is right now. And I promise you that. So growth really happens from doing the things that we don't yet feel comfortable doing. And I promise you that is so true. You've never done a sneak peek? Guess what? Perfect. Next week, you're doing a sneak peek. Even better, this week, you're doing a coach sneak peek. You've never shared, your hit, I don't remember who it was, said, their history with bulimia. You've never shared that before. Perfect. This week, you're sharing that. You're going to share that. And you're going to share how you've overcome it. And you're going to share how you are ready and willing and passionate about helping other people in the same position as you. I hope this has helped. Melanie is starting her power hour any minute here, so please join us. She has the best power hours ever. I hope that you can take some of this vulnerability that I have shared with you and put it into your invites, put it into your messages, put it into your own life, because remember, this is about healing you as much as it is healing other people. So thank you guys so much for joining me. Let's go get our power hour on. Bye, guys.